To a weekly vegan food prep. I'm so excited to do this. I did promise you this in the last video. So we're here today. I'm going to show you everything that I do to meal prep for the week on this cut. So here I have most of my ingredients. I'm not going to sit there and chop them all in front of you because that would be boring, but here I'll just show you a little bit of what I have. I have a lot of fresh produce, celery, zucchini, mushrooms, carrots, tomatoes, onions, bananas, ginger, fresh lemons from our tree, and then I have a whole bunch of canned goods and pantry goods, which I'll show you everything that I use for that later. Oh, and onions, I don't know if I mentioned onions. Oh, and garlic, I have garlic here as well. Okay, so today what I'll be making is I don't have breakfast, lunch, dinner, so to speak. I'll be making my first meal, second meal, so it's usually a lunch and a dinner, and a few of the snacks in between, which you'll see as well. I'll also show you your morning drink, which includes fresh ginger, lemon, and apple cider vinegar, which I'll be making as well. And I'll also be making a dessert made with chickpeas, which also fits all the macros. And I will post all the details, all the recipes, all the macros in the description box below. So stay tuned. I hope you enjoy this meal prep. And what I'm doing is I'm making 8 portions of the dinner. So 8 portions because it's technically meant to make 4 portions, but I'm gonna make it 8 portions. So what I'll be doing is freezing 4 of them and having 4 in the fridge for the week. So basically it's like a 2-week meal prep. Although it's 8 days, because I have 4 days where I do this strictly and 3 days a bit less strictly, because otherwise I get sick of eating the same thing over and over again. So this is vegan mince, by the way. It's available at Woolworths here in Australia, but you can find anything equivalent where you are locally. And this is $8 a pack, so it's very reasonable. It's around about the same price as normal mince. So yeah, enjoy. Hi my beauties, I'm back. Everything is prepped. So I'm about to start cooking the mince. Now I should mention what my dinner meal is. It's actually like a vegan bolognese, and I use either mung bean pasta, edamame pasta, chickpea pasta, or black bean pasta. I buy these for $3 a pack, so I'll be making 2 packs because I'll have 8 portions, so each pack of these makes 4 portions. I was having them as 2 portions, but I just found the portions too large and I wanted to halve them because I just wasn't finishing them and I was wasting food. So yeah, this will make 8 portions, which will go with my 8 portions of pasta. I've chopped everything. In here I have carrots, celery, zucchini. Here I have mushrooms, here I have tomatoes, fresh tomatoes, here I have beautiful chopped garlic, and here I have 2 onions chopped as well. Now, all of these ingredients, I don't track them because they're non-starchy. I know the carrot can be starchy or non-starchy. I consider it non-starchy because I'm using 2.5 carrots for 8 portions. So, you know, when you divide that, it's virtually no amount of carrot at all. Why I like these foods is because they add a lot of volume to my meal. They keep me fuller for longer, micronutrients. I'm getting all the colors of the rainbow, and they add up to virtually no calories. So, you know, that's why I don't bother tracking them. I make sure, if you watch my what I ate in a day, you'll see that I eat slightly less to make up for all the extra non-starchy veg that I incorporate in my meals. So this will be meal 1. I'm not going to actually show you how I cook it. I'm just going to cook it over here on the stove. First, I'm going to saute and caramelize the onions. I'm not going to cook with any added oil. If you want to, you can stick to extra virgin olive oil, a small amount, or coconut oil. And then I'm going to add the garlic, and then I'm going to saute the veg. Then I'm going to add the mince, and I'll show you the process as I go along. So let's get started. I'm over here. Let it warm up for a bit first. I'm using a non-stick pan, so it makes it easier to cook with. If you feel that it's sticking without the oil, just use a little bit of water or veggie stock in order to just move it around. I don't boil the pasta till right at the end because the sauce will usually take probably around 1.5 to 2 hours to make because I reduce it really well. So, and this takes 6 minutes because I boil the water in the kettle first and then bring it to the boil really quickly and then add the pasta. 6 minutes, it's done. So I save that right till the end. If you wanted to as well, have the fresh pasta, you could make 1 bag at a time, have the mince already prepared, and after 4 days, just make another batch. Okay, so I'm now going to add my onions to my pan. While that's sauteing, I'm just going to mention to you that I do as well, if I feel a bit hungry on the day, I just put a carrot in my mouth, sorry. I'll make a fresh salad. So I'll use either some salad mix or some spinach or rocket or kale or even iceberg lettuce. I know a lot of people like anti-iceberg lettuce because it has no nutritional value, but I actually really enjoy the iceberg lettuce, so I add that to my salads as well if I want. Usually I mix it with a darker leafy green as well. I'll add some cherry tomatoes or normal tomatoes. I'll add some cucumber, a little bit of lemon and balsamic vinegar, a little bit of oregano, and for me that's so satiating and I really enjoy eating that. And again, that's something that I wouldn't bother tracking because I'm not adding any oil, I'm not adding any fats, I'm not adding any starchy veg, so it's something that again builds my volume up. And now that I'm halving the portion of the pasta, I'll definitely be having the side salad. I was having such a big portion of the pasta that I just couldn't finish it and I didn't want the salad, whereas now I'll be eating a lot more of those greens and it'll make me happy and my body happy, and I'm just really excited to be eating that. Now I'm going to multitask because that's what you do when you cook. You don't just cook one thing. So as these onions are sauteing, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to make this drink. I saw someone do it online and I just thought I loved the idea. So you know how like everyone says you should have your lemon water in the morning, add a bit of ginger, apple cider vinegar is great. All of these things are absolutely great. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to make my own little blend of fresh lemon. I'm going to blend it with the skin so it adds that fiber property as well. Lemon's super good for you, like, you know, and there's going to be pips in there, but honestly, I don't care. I know some people say it adds so much bitterness, but it doesn't matter. So I'm probably going to add about 3 lemons. I'm going to add a bunch of apple cider vinegar and a bunch of ginger, probably that whole thing of ginger, which will make it very spicy. And then once I blend them, I'm going to put them in an ice cube tray. And then every morning, I'm just going to pop out an ice cube and add it to my warm water. So I don't have to think about cutting my ginger in the morning. I don't have to think about squeezing my lemon or go collecting lemons. Do I have any? I don't have to think about measuring out anything. All I have to do every day is just pop one out, add it to my boiled water and drink it. All right. And it just makes it so much easier. And I thought it was such a good idea. I would credit her, but honestly, I can't even remember who I saw do it. So I can't credit her, unfortunately. It wasn't my idea, just so you are aware, but such a good idea. Don't be afraid if there is a little bit of skin on there because the skin isn't the worst for you. It's actually very good for you. That's why we add lemon zest to things. Obviously, if you have a compost, it would be really great to compost all of this. I currently don't, so I'll be throwing it out, unfortunately, but we try our best. Okay, so check on your onions. What I find here is when I'm using non-stick, they'll start to get brown, but not really be caramelizing in the way they would with oil. So at this point, you can choose to add a little bit of oil if you want. I'm just going to add a little bit of water. So I'm just going to add a little tiny splash of water. Beautiful. Okay, so now they've browned nicely, so I'm going to add my garlic. I put in a lot of garlic, probably around about, oh, I can see my hair flying around. This is life of a female, all right? You shed hair like no tomorrow, like I saw that, because I can't stand hair in food. Anyway, so I add around about 5 cloves of garlic. Garlic to me is a superfood, an absolute superfood. It fights cancer. Read the book How Not to Die. I've mentioned it before. Such a good book. It fights cancer. It's an anti-inflammatory. It's super good for you. I know the argument that it's a stimulant and a lot of people don't consume it, and that's fine. Maybe don't consume it every day. I personally do because I love it so much. And I never used to be pro-garlic, but my dad has always been pro-garlic, and I thought there must be a method to his madness. All right, so now I'm going to add the carrots, celery, and zucchini just to let them soften because I want them soft and mostly cooked before I add any mince. I add the mushrooms last after this because I just find that the carrots and celery take a bit longer than the mushrooms, and the mushrooms add a lot of water because they're naturally high in water content. So I want to avoid adding too much water because I don't want to boil them, I want to saute them. So again, I'm not adding any liquid because, you know, all the liquid from the vegetables that have a very high water content, it'll do all the cooking for me. I don't need to add anything. I may add the lid on now just for a minute. I'm not going to add it for too long because then it creates too much water, but I'm just going to leave it for a little bit. All right, so now I'm going to cut the ginger. I don't know exactly how much I'm going to use. I use a lot generally, but I don't eat the flesh. So the fact that I'm keeping the flesh, I might make a little less than I would normally because ginger is like real expensive, especially if you're buying it fresh. It's super expensive. I do recommend you buy fresh because it's just so ridiculously good for you. Ever since I started adding turmeric, ginger, cracked pepper with the turmeric, lemon, garlic into my diet, I just noticed such a big difference. I always cook with a lot of herbs as well, so there's a lot of parsley. I'm anti-coriander. If you're a coriander fan, we can't hang, sorry, but no, I'm just kidding. But no, really, I hate coriander, so there'll be no coriander in any of my dishes ever. If you like coriander, add it to your dishes in lieu of, I would usually, in a recipe, if it says coriander, I'll add parsley to mine. So that's just my little thing that I do. But I love cooking with fresh herbs all the time because I find that this is probably going to be quite potent. This much ginger. I don't think I'm going to add the other half. I think I'm just going to add 1/2 of ginger, which looks like a lot. It's going to be an ice cube, so this is going to be split up over a number of doses. So you're not going to take it all in at once. And it's going to be diluted in boiling water. So I'll probably add that much ginger. And in regards to apple cider vinegar, I'm going to add, it would usually be a tablespoon. So let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So maybe around about 1/2 cup. Yeah, let's say 1/2 cup of that. And now I'm going to blend it. Okay, so this is my blended concoction. Now I'm just going to let it settle before I put it into an ice cube mold. It looks a little bit creamy as opposed to juicy, but that's okay. I see a few pips and stuff at the bottom, so hopefully they don't go in when I put them into the ice cube tray. But I'm so excited. It smells super apple cider vinegary, but that's okay with me. And what I'll do is if I find that it's not lemony enough, I'll add fresh lemon when I drink my tea anyway. Okay, so let's check on the vegetables. Oh my god, they're smelling so good. All right, I'm gonna leave the lid off for the rest because I don't want water to build up. I want it to evaporate. Now, food prep doesn't have to take you long. So while that's cooking, obviously I'm going to prepare the rest of my meals because I can and I have time and I don't have to be constantly watching the veg. I can listen. I can be part of the environment. I love cooking. To me, it's my sanctuary. I love cooking so much. So I'm here in my element. All right, so as I mentioned, that would be my dinner meal. My first meal is always oats. Now, I don't usually pre-prepare my oats. I just do it on the day because I'm at home and I have time and it's really quick anyway. But I'm going to show you what you would do in order to prepare your oats. So you would grab your containers. I'll just grab 2 for the purposes of this, but you would grab as many as you would like to prepare. So let's say you're preparing 4 days worth. You could put in 4. All right, so this is how I measure. So I measure, it's 30 grams of oats. I know that one of these cups heaped, so this is 30 grams. I've measured it so many times. So I would just put in one of those cups. I would do in another one. So find something that's around your measurement. 30 grams isn't necessarily a lot. That's what I like. It's too much for me. I just find that it fills me up way too much. So you choose what number suits you, okay? So 30 grams is good for me, but you choose a number that feels good to you. It's the equivalent to, let's say, 1/4 of a cup. All right, so those veggies are looking super nice. I am going to add the mushrooms at this point. Now, this is real life. You know, like you watch these videos and people are preparing the one meal and then the next meal and then the next meal. And I've done that before too, but that's not real life. Real life is you're going to be preparing everything at once, right? So when you're preparing food at home, meal prep, start with whatever's going to take the longest first, all right? And then leave the bits that are very quick till the end. Okay, so I have my oats in there. Flax meal, again, is another ingredient that's absolutely changed my life. Now, I use a tablespoon a day. I do track my flax meal. If it goes a bit over a tablespoon, I don't care. So I usually do like a heaped tablespoon for each day. It is so good in regards to its fiber content. It has changed my entire body. It allows me to digest food really easily, and I just love it so much. I will then add cinnamon. I am a huge cinnamon fan. So as you can see, I'm putting quite a lot. I put around about maybe a teaspoon and a half, 2 teaspoons, because I really like cinnamon. If you're not the biggest cinnamon fan, then put a little bit less or omit it if you prefer. Then again, another anti-inflammatory. I'll add a turmeric. I don't measure this because I don't track it, but I'll put in just a little bit. Please note that the turmeric is very earthy, so you will notice the taste of it. So if you don't like it, put a little bit less initially. Now, in order to activate the turmeric, you have to put in ground black pepper. Ground black pepper activates the property in the turmeric that allows your body to absorb it in order to have all the benefits from it. All right, so again, I'm going to do another stir around of my veggies. Now, what you'll notice is once you add the mushrooms, it adds a lot of water content. So just keep stirring in order to get rid of all of that extra liquid at the bottom. All right, another ingredient that I forgot in my cupboard that I always add to my oats is maca powder. I love maca root powder. Again, it's very earthy, similar to the turmeric, but it's super good for you. Again, I add probably the same amount of turmeric, so probably half a teaspoon, quarter of a teaspoon, something like that, whatever I feel like on the day. Okay, so in regards to spices and the dry ingredients, that's everything. So then I'll just mix it around, and that will be my dry ingredient ready to go. All right, so I'll mix them both around. Now, when I'm ready to eat it every day, all I'll do is boil some water and add a little bit of boiling water to this, mix it around till I get my desired consistency, and then the oats are done. Now, I don't just have the oats, I do sweeten it. So I add a tablespoon of PB2. This is powdered peanut butter, so find the equivalent. It's so good, I love it so much. A lot less calories than normal peanut butter. And then I will add, for the purposes of my cut, this sugar-free maple flavored syrup. I know this is not a whole food. I know it's not that good for you. I only consume it when I'm dieting for a short period of time because I know it's not great for your body, but you know, everything in moderation, and that's fine. So I'll add 35 mils of the sugar-free syrup with the powdered peanut butter. I'll mix it. That's my secret sauce. It's so good. And I'll add that to the top of the oats once I've already made them with the boiling water. And that will be my breakfast. And I love it so much. And I will add a protein shake to that as well. So I have 40 grams of protein with just water. That's the way I like it. I just have it with water. If you want a little bit of almond milk, you could add a little bit of almond milk. Another secret is to freeze your almond milk in an ice cube tray and then add that to the blender as well, and you'll find that it just makes your shake so much more enjoyable and nice and cold and just easier to drink. You could add a bunch of spinach in your shake as well if you like it. Turmeric powder. If I haven't had any turmeric for the day, I'll add it into my shake as well. Okay, so I'm ready to add my mince now. So this is what it looks like. It looks so real. It doesn't smell real, but it looks real. All right, so I'm going to add that to my sauce now, and I'm just going to break it up the way you would normal mince. Now, to be fair, I haven't cooked normal mince in years, but I assume that this is how you do it. And the way you would allow normal meat to brown, you would do the same for this, although it won't brown in the same way. So it will still cook, but it won't look like meat, okay? Because it is made out of soy protein, wheat gluten, and those types of things. So you can read the ingredients. The macros are really, really good for this. It's super high protein. My dinner usually is 60 grams of protein, but now because I'll be halving the portion, it'll amount to 30 grams of protein, which is still really good for dinner. So, you know, especially for a vegan dinner. Plus I'll add, you know, I'll have to increase my protein some other way. So I'll add another maybe shake or, you know, a few other ingredients. The way I'll be making the dessert in a minute, you'll see how I add protein in that as well. All right, so I'm just gonna let that cook off for a bit and mix it every few minutes. You'll notice I haven't added the tomatoes yet. They go later, like the way you would make a normal bolognese. Okay, now going based on my herbs, I love fresh thyme in this, so it's just annoying to clean, but You gotta do what you gotta do. I'm just gonna use my garlic container, my garlic bowl. Grab some fresh thyme and just clean it. Try not to get the stems because they come out and you can really taste them when you cook. So in the sauce. Alright, I'll just put as much as I desire. Again, this is stuff that I don't track. I just put as many herbs and spices as I like. Choose your flavorings. Now, this bolognese is also really good as a chili. So if you wanted to, you could make half the portion as a normal bolognese, and then the other half, once it's already cooked, add a whole bunch of chili powder, cayenne pepper, paprika, and black beans and corn, and it's a really good chili as well. So you could do like lettuce tacos with avocado or something like that. Okay, so that sauce is cooking away nicely. I've got probably maybe half a teaspoon of fresh thyme, and I'll also add dried basil. If you have it fresh, add it fresh. I don't currently have it fresh, so that's why I'll be adding the dried basil. Okay, I'm going to show you while I'm doing that what I have as a snack. I made sure to include in my macros a banana and strawberries. I'll have a whole punnet of strawberries. Once I cut them and clean them, it's not actually 250 grams. So it's usually around a punnet and a half. Now again, I do this fresh every day because that's how I prefer it. But if you want to prep for the week, grab as many fruits as you like or whatever you include in your meal plan. I do 1 banana a day, so I would just take off a banana. That one broke. You can tell that I like them brown, but that's okay. So 1 banana. I would cut these and clean them. I would clean them with apple cider vinegar to get rid of all the pesticides, put them in a small container, and then they're ready to consume for the day. So you can pre-prepare them, pre-clean them all at once, measure them out, divide them evenly, and put them in your fridge ready to eat. Bananas, keep them on your countertop. Again, because I eat these fresh every day, I don't have to pre-prepare, but you can choose whatever fruits you prefer. So my sister does an apple a day and a banana, whereas I do strawberries. So you just pick and choose whatever you want. So breakfast or first meal is done. Snack is done. With your protein, again, you can just put it in sachets, measure out how many grams. Again, I just make them instantly, so I don't need to pre-prepare that. That's fine. This is going to go into my ice cube tray, so I will show you that in a minute. I'll make the pasta in a bit. That'll be ready. The salad I make fresh, but if you want to pre-prepare that, don't prepare more than 2 or 3 days because it will start to go off and you won't want to eat it anymore. And the lemon, add fresh every day as well. Now the dessert. The dessert is so good. Once I have the sauce up and running, I will start making the dessert. Okay, so I have changed the recipe slightly in order to have better macros for the fact that I'm dieting. These are blondies. I love brownies slash blondies. These are a super healthy version and I love them so much. The macros are super good, so I put them in MyFitnessPal last night. I edited a few things to make sure they fit correctly and are the best possible macros. So these are healthy peanut butter blondies. I'm making this to make 9 portions, so they'll be quite big, so really nice and satisfying at the end of the evening. They'll be my dessert. It'll be 176 calories per blondie, 9.5 grams of fat, 13.3 grams carbs, and 8.5 grams of protein, which are really good macros for something that's like a cake, right? And it's so sweet. Now, usually you would make them with honey, but obviously these are a vegan version, so I'm going to instead add this maple flavored syrup, and what I need to use for this makes it like 30 calories, so that's really good. You use a tin of chickpeas, you use coconut sugar, a splash of almond milk, some vanilla, baking powder, baking soda, and this protein plus peanut butter. You could use normal peanut butter, almond butter, whatever you prefer. I like this peanut butter personally. All right, so once I have everything ready, I will show you. Okay, so I'm making the healthy blondies. Now, why I love them as well is because you just put everything in the food processor and you don't have to mix anything in a separate bowl. So I've got 1 drained can of chickpeas. You could keep the aquafaba, which is the chickpea juice from the tin if you wanted, and make another dessert. You can make a chocolate mousse. You could make an omelette mix with it and add some chickpea flour. You can do so much. All right, so while I'm doing that, actually I've noticed that this is pretty ready now, so I can add my other sauces. So at this point, what I'm going to do is I add a whole bunch of turmeric because I like the anti-inflammatory property in turmeric. So I just add a drizzle of that. Now because I'm adding the turmeric, I'm also going to add the black pepper. salt at the end, so I'll never pre-add salt. I will also add the thyme and the basil, just a bunch. So there's no measurements for that, just whatever you desire. I'll now add the fresh tomatoes. There's my mum in the background, so mum, say hi. Hi. So I'll add 1 tin of diced tomatoes as well as the fresh. You could double the amount of fresh if you wanted. I just find that the diced are just a bit more saucy, and I'll mix that around first. Another thing I should mention is I serve this with nutritional yeast, so that adds a cheesy parmesan-like flavor to it. So yeah, that's another reason why I leave salt right to the end. So when I'm eating it, I'll add my desired amount of salt. Alright, so I've mixed that all through. It's looking so good. It smells like heaven. Alright, and now I'm just going to add a whole jar of passata, which is like tomato sauce. And then to this, I will add about 1/4 cup of water. I'll just show you. Yeah, 1/4 cup to 1/2 cup of water. Shake it all about so you get all the sauce from the jar, and then add that amount of water as well. Okay, so I'll leave that on high heat until it starts to boil. Once it boils, I'll reduce it to low heat and then let it simmer for about an hour and a half, but I'll constantly be checking it. I'll show you what it looks like at the end. So I'm going to add 1/4 cup of this syrup. And as I said, you could add honey, which is what I've done in the past. I do consume honey. It's my one exception, and I make sure that it's ethically sourced, locally sourced, and it's from people that I know who have the beehive. And I don't have it often, but you could make this with honey. But know while you're dieting, it's not the best option because honey is super high in carbs, and whereas this is not. So it's the better option. So you just add a squeeze of vanilla bean. You could use vanilla extract, vanilla bean paste, whatever you've got on hand. Right, it needs 1/4 cup of coconut sugar. Yum. For baking soda and baking powder, I always use the exact measurements because it's just one thing that I want to be correct. So baking powder is 1/2 teaspoon, and baking soda is a 1/4 teaspoon. I'm also going to weigh out the peanut butter because I want that to be a bit more exact as well. So mine calls, it's meant to be 1/2 cup, so I'm just doing 190 grams of the peanut butter. So we'll see how much that is. If your macros allow for it, add chocolate chips as well. I'm going to omit the chocolate chips, but it would be up to you. Oh God, I never have trouble opening these, and today I have trouble. Okay, that's it of that. And a dash of almond milk. How much? 1 tablespoon of almond milk. Now, I don't have the almond milk open, but I do have my protein milk open, so I'll just add that instead. No big deal. A little bit more. Okay, and I'm going to put that to blend now. Okay, so I just had a taste test, and oh my God, they're so good. All right, so this is what it looks like. Again, usually it's a little bit thinner, the consistency, but that's fine. I'm fine with this. I will put this in a lined baking tray and put it in the oven for, let me tell you, for 20 to 30 minutes. So probably around about 25 minutes. And then they're ready. I'll show you what they look like when they're done.